Cage. 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 Peach. I could eat a peach for hours. Please.
Greetings and salutations, min ami. This is Cage's Kiss, the podcast about how you say Nicolas Cage, which covers all his cinematic masterpieces and his live Cajun style, min ami. We also share how you say the kernels of Cajun wisdom from his masterpiece that week. And I would be a guy from New Orleans or Adrian.
Who that? Oh, my name is Linda, but the fat ass bunny jumped or something.
Yeah, the horny rabbit humps.
The cheese bunny jump. I don't.
No,
the
Donnie, who the fuck are you?
The horny bunny jumps.
I want to see the bunnies.
I'm Pooh Bear, and I got stuck in a hole going for honey.
Seeking honey.
Oh,
Justice.
Bob.
Oh, what the fuck this week?
I don't know,
we're all
but
splayed and bleeding because we got butt fucked by seeking justice. It's a trip back down to fucking New Orleans, the city that Cage doesn't have the courage to leave.
yeah, though he should.
Yeah,
It's okay.
you know what? It worked out for entirely one film, Wild at Heart. That's about it. Everything else he did set there is shit.
And it didn't, like, Wild at Heart didn't even, like, spend much time there.
Yeah, no, but right, but the part in New Orleans wasn't shitty, unlike, say, Zandali, you know?
Yeah. There wasn't much going wild either.
Yeah, no, I'm not, I don't have any beads, I don't see tits. You know?
Yeah, Nick Cage kept his shirt on.
This is Sad Professor Port of Call, New Orleans.
Yeah.
You did get that awesome, like, scene with him wearing the mask. The 50 Shades of Grey mask.
There's a butt? There's a butt? I didn't know that. I took Inner City Kids to the symphony. Oh, yeah, you should have seen the way he treated those kids. It was real human, you know?
It's like an angel.
Like an angel. Fuck. Okay.
I don't know if you all had this, but I really, when they were dancing, I just kind of chuckled because I was thinking, God, how I would love it if he went full Keanu and did a devil's advocate while they were dancing and just took a bite out of his wife's ass. Just no reason. I'm drunk. I'm going to bite your ass because I'm
a fan of man. I'm a fan of man. And his ass.
Well, you do get to say him or hear him say weird shit like that he deems as New Orleans and Cajun. Like, who dat?
Come on, who dat? Yeah. We love New Orleans. Like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Cage. There's been a murder right now. Yeah, New Orleans, it's great murder. We like it.
We love it.
So this movie apparently has its birth in 2009. It came out in 2011, but in 2009 it was on the Hollywood blacklist of the best liked unproduced scripts of that year. Which is making me think if the script was anything like the movie we got, that blacklist is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I trust Franklin Leonard, but
I trust Sheldon Lettich. What's that got to do with anything?
Well, he's the one who curates the blacklist. But he
okay, then I can only assume that the original script was vastly different from this.
Okay, so that's the thing. Like, I love the premise. I think it's really interesting.
There are solid elements to the premise. The trouble is like when it came to making it into a movie.
Yeah.
Well, my problem was with the dialogue mostly.
Well, and the fact that it's a terrible, humorless, like serious pile of shit.
It really had an interesting subject, but it just got raped repeatedly.
Well, for what I've got various reasons why, and they involve the people working on the movie here. But let's first things first here. So this pile of shit cost $30 million somehow.
Jesus.
And it doesn't look like it, right? It looks like a fucking Hallmark movie. It looks like it cost nothing. It looks like
an IFC movie. Honestly.
And it only made $12 million worldwide. And it actually had plenty of time to make that movie because the release in Europe was much earlier than in the U.S. It came out in 2011 in Europe. It didn't actually make it to theaters over here, and it did actually come to theaters somehow. In 2012 is when it made it here. It opened at number 27, which I think if it's not the lowest opening we've ever seen, it's the lowest opening we've seen in a long time. Like, that's probably opening lower than Zandali.
And I read somewhere that the domestic gross was only $411. $411,000, $746.
I mean, I would have
This
believed
was no
$411 too. Yeah,
This is like a huge bomb, and apparently was sent
no
straight to
reason
video in Germany.
Yeah, well, this is because Germans are like, oh, do I want to see that? No.
They had taste.
I would rather go to Dusseldorf for some chocolates.
God, I would too.
So the number one in the box office when this did come out in America was 21 Jump Street, and also out was the the Will Ferrell movie Casa de Mi Padre, which is much better than this.
Oh yeah.
So here's the big reason I think this is a piece of shit. Like as to why it happened. Because this was directed by Roger Donaldson. And Roger Donaldson, if you don't know the name, was possibly the most workmanlike hack in the business. He's from New Zealand. We have bad luck with guys from New Zealand. He did The Recruit with Colin Farrell and Al Pacino. You may have seen that and just don't remember because it's a mind eraser. He did that remake of The Getaway with Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger.
Oh my.
He did Cocktail with Tom Cruise, a Worst Picture nominee in 1988. I think one, actually, if it was Golden Razzies. He did The First Species.
Oh,
and he did Dante's Peak.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, gotta go get Grandma. She won't leave her house, and that volcano's going off. Oh. Well, like much like Species 2, at least you could say Species 1, at least you could say it's not Species 2. With Dante's Peak, you're like, well, at least it wasn't Volcano.
Well, I was explaining the story to my husband because we're working from home and he was right behind me as I was watching it. And
were you just shouting it out like while he wasn't looking? You're like, oh no, she got raped. Oh no.
No, he was saying that he hasn't seen it before, and
like most people.
Well, it seems that there's this organization where they will myrtleize somebody for someone else, and so like it's like a crisscross thing, and like that way the person wouldn't be implicated as the suspect. And Carlos says, so they're paying it forward with murder.
Yeah, where's Haley Joel Osment in all of this?
Yeah,
pretty much.
I mean, in the movie Pay It Forward, the kid did get paid forward with murder also. It's just we're not supposed to pay. That's not supposed to be our takeaway somehow.
this movie tells us there are a lot of child pornographers.
Yeah,
that's how everyone keeps coming
it's
up.
like, how dare you, you dirty pedophile! Wait a minute, the Hungry Rabbit Jugs? No way, man, you too? Oh, man, so you're not actually a pedophile? Like, not at all, I'm a professor. You could still be a pedophile, though. Ah, you too, you old son of a bitch.
I am.
Yeah. This organization is as popular as the Masons in the National Treasure movies.
So you notice that they only list like 3 types of crimes as the kind of crime they go for. It's like, you got to be a pedophile, a rapist, or a murderer. And it's like, you're the cleaning society. And I'm thinking like, well, fuck you. If you got a murder for hire ring, kill off the insurance companies.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
Really?
Those bastards need to get stabbed in the fucking throat. There was actually a movie with Paul Sorvino and Andrew McCarthy in the 90s. There was a thriller where a guy's framed for his wife's murder, and it turns out to have been the motivation is because he works for an insurance company.
I'm gonna say something or ask something really stupid, but bear with me. Is Andrew McCarthy the one from Weekend at Bernie's?
I don't know. I didn't actually see Weekend at Bernie's. Oddly enough, he's from Mannequin. He was in Mannequin.
Oh, okay. That's it.
Yeah, he's got very distinctive face. Very soft features. Yeah. Nothing's gonna stop us now.
Yes.
This movie would have been better if it was Mannequin 3.
Right? See, his wife got attacked and he feels incensed, but he also doesn't want to report it to the police because it turns out that she's a mannequin and only comes to life when other people aren't looking at her.
Yes, and that's when he notices there was a hole drilled right at the bottom of Mannequin.
Oh shit, he was the one from Weekend at Bernie's, and he was in St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh.
St. Elmo's Fire.
Burning in me, I can feel it burning.
So Nick Cage plays chess, and it's shown to show he's intelligent, I guess. But did
He
you
loses,
think this
though,
was
he
gonna
sucks.
come into play at some point in the movie? Because it didn't.
No, Donnie, the brilliant, astute observation there, because the movie's two themes are set up in that, and guys wanking around playing games together, and cell phones. There's the whole cell phone theme in that, because this is like 2011. Like, check out, you guys, you could take a picture with your cell phone. Did you know that? And you're like, that movie Cellular with William H. Macy is 9 years old. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, you could take a picture or a video with your cellular telephone. You guys, it's amazing.
At least it
camera in
didn't
your
reach
pocket.
levels that Jurassic Park 3 did with the goddamn ringtone.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, not as good as The Ruins.
Thanks,
No.
Donnie. I successfully blocked it out of my memory.
They should have called this movie Flip Phone. Get one of those titles where it's all slanted and it's got the lines through it, so it looks like it's going faster. It's like, wow, Flip Phone technology.
Which
thriller.
I gotta say, I'm still surprised flip phones are a thing still.
Yeah, well, actually, the phone I have to carry for work is a flip phone.
Hey.
Nice.
It makes it easier to put in your pocket. You don't got to get a case for it or nothing. There were advantages. So we've got Australian actor Guy Pearce in this movie. He's speaking Australian, except he's doing an American accent as usual. You may remember him from Memento, but you mostly remember him for doing that shitty space prison movie, Lockout. It's called Lockout, and yet it's not about a tow truck driver. It's kind of weird.
Hey.
And remember, he was in Prometheus with that really shitty, unconvincing old man makeup. It was like the worst old man makeup ever.
Oh, God, you're right, yeah.
And
Old
it's
man
like
Whalen.
somebody just like pulled a prank on him and dipped him in spirit gum or something.
Am I really doing this for a movie?
Why is my head twice the normal size? Can't you just shrink it up with special effects or something? I look like Full Moon's head of the family right now.
And then Ridley Scott just says, fuck you, it's sci-fi.
Ridley Scott's like, do not fuck with me. I directed G.I. Jane. Understand?
I am a
shut the
knight.
fuck up.
Well, it did have some really awesome actors in it, though. I was surprised.
January Jones from We're Marshall and Mad Men.
Hey, I enjoyed her in Mad Men.
With a name like January Jones, you'd think she's a character created by the Wachowski twins.
I did think it was a porn actress at first, but
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that
that
is a porn name.
It's like, fuck January Jones, give me Tuesday Weld. Fuck.
But it also had Harold Perrineau from Lost in Oz. And also, it had Xander Berkeley come back, the guy from who was in Kick-Ass, and he was the cab driver, the asshole cab driver leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'm just trying to cover my ass. Something you should have done.
Yes.
Well, the only thing this movie did was surprise me when it went from what it was trying to be into a freaking action movie right at the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
the bit where it's like, I stole this Escalade, I'm going to jump in front of a train! Oh, wait, the budget's only $30 million. I can't jump in front of the train. Back up. Yeah, cop car. Are you alive, Mr. Cop? Are you okay? For a second here, the movie's going to be rated PG. Are you okay, buddy? Would you like a cookie? Yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, they have like this awesome cast, and oh shit, right? They had what's her name? Kathleen.
Yeah, no,
Wilhoit?
right. Dexter's sister's in this.
Oh, yeah, they have her
Exorcism of
too.
Emily Rose herself. I don't
Yeah.
remember her name, and I don't care. So
But Kathleen Wilhoit's the one who played the mother that he was following around, and
that must have been really hard to do. Just go to the zoo and we'll film you at a distance. Well, how will I know when I'm in the movie? Just go to the zoo every day. Okay, now buy a candy bar. No, go take a leak. I don't have to go right now. What?
well, she was also in Roadhouse. Roadhouse.
I fucking love Roadhouse. Why didn't we watch Roadhouse?
Because we had to watch a movie about Nick Cage's wife getting wing-dang doodled against her will by a guy in boots, and then get him killed off because Nick Cage buys 2 candy bars from a vending machine when a guy says, we can take care of that guy for
candy
you.
Bar. He buys a
Yes.
forever bar. It's like, we can't have to get a real candy bar. And you look at the label in there, it's like, that would never be a candy bar. No one would ever buy that. It doesn't even read.
And what kind of a cop watches you that closely while you're picking out a candy
what's
bar?
going
unless
on
they're
there,
worried
boss?
you're
You
going to
getting a
get the
forever
candy
bar?
bar.
I mean, maybe
I'm
he
going to
was on a
imply
diet.
Forever Boss healthy. You don't want a healthy bar. You want a Snickers. You're not you when you're hungry.
You sound like Al Pacino, and this would have been great if he was in this movie.
Hey, Roger Donaldson should have just had him come back.
Towanda.
Hooah!
But what I was meaning to say was that, like, with Nicolas Cage and January Jones, I feel like it was just so fucking flat. Like they're
loveless
barely
marriage?
in the goddamn movie.
This is a movie. This is typical of Roger Donaldson, by the way. This is a movie that fears distinction. And you see that a lot in modern Hollywood, like how movies have no color and anything like that. People are afraid of making decisions, right? Because they don't want anything out there that you could make fun of the movie for. You know, like, no, this is serious. Well, yeah, that's the trouble. It's like it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. Because you made this flat generic piece of shit and everything in it becomes hilarious because you didn't give us anything to distract us. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I laugh so much when I have to rephrase this. I was about to say after she was raped, but I laughed so hard when it said like raped. 6 months after, and he's coming home. It's their new routine. She asked for bars on the windows and locks on the door. And when he comes in, she announces, "Is it you?" He's like, "Yes, it's me." He locks the door, comes in, and she immediately comes off like, "I sound like such a paranoid person." And he tells her, no, you sound like someone who went through something very traumatic. And then she follows it up with, she's like, "Oh my God, I feel so paranoid. Maybe I'm overdoing it." And he's like, no, you're cool. And then she goes, "I want a gun."
If she's paranoid, I have the movie on right now in the background, and it just came home later on, right? So it's after that point. They've only got the one deadbolt.
Yeah.
Okay, for one thing, they live in the city, right? So nobody only has one deadbolt in the first place.
No.
And furthermore, she lives in the city and she's a survivor of rape. Wouldn't they at least have the extra thing? Maybe the pull chain.
I mean,
maybe that thing in the floor with the bar. Like people in New York, like you got to have 4 minimum. Like, come on, you're talking about how
houses I've been
the city
into.
is?
3 houses or apartments rather I've been to in Seattle, and 4 apartments in Paris all had like 4 to 6 locks on their doors.
Yeah, no, and they got the hardcore metal door.
Yeah.
The kind that you cannot dent, right?
With a little stern wheel you have to turn.
While we're on the subject, I fucking hate their house in this movie.
I loved it.
Oh God, no, it's awful. It's just generic magazine shit.
Oh, I loved it. But
they got those goddamn bookshelves, those airy bookshelves that are just for like hardcover, like large print, like first editions of novels and shit. Like they're just shitheads. They're terrible shitheads. It's just further evidence of it. It's like they would never read a paperback. They would never get anything substantive. They're like, look.
Well,
look
again, you're supposed to get the idea that
pieces.
they're professors, they're intellectuals. That's why he's
yeah.
playing chess while she's getting banged in a car.
And if he was a professor, he'd have interesting mannerisms, and his residence would probably be cluttered with really cool stuff.
Yeah, which again, it's like his character makes no sense with how they're setting him up and how he acts.
No, not at all. Yeah.
It's like it's two different people entirely. And again, there's a lot of things they set up in this film and you think are going to pay off in the end, but they don't. The only thing that consistently
But they have themes. They think they do.
Yeah. It's like the only thing that
do.
consistently was set up was when he tells his wife, I will not have a gun in this house. We don't need to. And she immediately goes and buys a gun, gets one quick line about this is how you stand when you shoot. And then at the end of the movie, oh my God, she actually gets to do the shooting. She gets to fire her one shot.
Yeah, she's over having shot that kid.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised because I was thinking that because I like to go blind into these movies. Like I don't like to know what to expect.
It'll turn you
and
blind.
So this
is my third pass at this movie.
When they showed they had that scene that like the close up of the sign saying no cell phones or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And they showed her, like walking outside and it's night. I was like, Carla looked over because I said out loud, like, "Oh, wife's gonna get some daddies." Like, time for murders. But then I was just like, oh, okay, just rape-sies.
It was just rape-sies. Oh, yeah.
Well,
but speaking of not making decisions, this is also one of those non-exploitive movies. So she pretty much gets knocked down into a car, and we're like, oh, well, what happened from there? I don't know. They shake hands. Did he tell her a secret?
Jesus.
Although when the director's credit is, I'm not saying see it like to enjoy it. I'm saying in these movies, if there's a traumatic event, you show the traumatic event.
Yes.
There are non-exploitive ways to depict rape, by the way. It's not.
There
it's not
are
always
a lot.
just porn.
Yeah, you don't have to go. I spit on your grave or something.
Wife. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, like it's no. I'm not saying like make the movie into wank material. I'm saying that if the movie had been a little bit bolder, like because as it stands, the edit that the final cut is that our outrage extends to, well, she's bruised up and he's upset because she batted his hand away in the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it. That's supposed to do it. This is another one of those where it really pulls the punches and there's no impact.
Well, I don't know if it's because I'm an Oman, but I just they showed the shot and I just assumed.
I just think it's another extension of modern movies and the fact that they play it too safe. That's what I think. I'm not promoting rape. I'm saying if a movie is about rape, you kind of have to have some of it in there.
That's actually something that Joe Bob said when he was talking about things like The Witness and, The Accused in this. You have two movies that deal with the same subject matter, entirely differently handled between the two, but it's a difference between Hollywood and people outside, where if you're going to make a movie about this topic, you either go all in on it or you don't.
Yeah, and you don't pussyfoot around.
Yeah.
It's I agree with that.
Accused, you remember The Accused.
Yeah, because it's so visceral.
Her outrage makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because it's dwelt on,
But it's the same thing as Fire in the Sky. It's without actually having the whole thing of him being on the ship and having the made up flashback of showing you what happened to him, you're just left to assume this is what happened to him. That's still safe, but it still stays with you when you have that with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's we don't need a visceral thing. It's I want to see the cum running down her leg. It's you don't need that shit.
But it's
you still got it. Yeah, I agree.
Now that you brought it up, with The Accused, I think some of the power in that movie was just that it made you uncomfortable and it wasn't letting you go.
Yeah.
I know the reason they didn't do it because there's the fear there that you'll wind up creating something that somebody will enjoy. You'll think you'll wind up doing Savage Streets and you think you'll be accused of being a pornographer. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas actually, oddly enough, one of the better examples of a non-exploitive rape scene is Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There is no way to wank to that, because it's awful.
No.
It's filthy and it's unpleasant, which is what rape should be.
Honestly, as far as these things go, even though we're getting into this topic, another Nick Cage film where his wife was drugged and while she was drinking and wakes up to find she banged some other guy. She wakes up with her clothes on. So it's assumed that he undressed her. Yeah, in Kiss of Death, it's assumed that he undressed her, had sex, and then redressed her. It's just
Yeah.
one of
The
those things,
weirdest
it's like,
part about that is
okay.
like he redressed her and he took the trouble to roofie her, and then at the
Yeah.
end he's not even denying that it happened to her.
Yeah.
It's like, can you get on the same page about what's even going on?
Because
Yeah.
even
And
during
how
that
Hunt's
movie,
oh shit, rape
Yeah,
scenes, shit
yeah,
in the car.
during that movie,
under
I
the
just
bus.
thought he was implying to her that they did it and assumed that she would think they did and that might lead somewhere. But no, she just went full hog with it and took off because they're saying, "Oh my god, he did drug her and rape her." But again, you like you said, you don't
He
have
wasn't
to
like,
see
hey,
it.
remember that time you consented? Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing you could do is like make a movie where you have somebody just come back out of the blue and say, "Well, I got the test results back, and I definitely have cancer."
Don't
Because you
worry
just-
about
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but thankfully this movie didn't do it. But even then, this is like the least of the movie's problems.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a ton of problems, you know.
There are a ton.
But
of
I think that's an extension from the problem, you know.
Yeah.
and that you know how some movies, like, you're really there with them, right? You're really in the moment, right? Where it's
Yeah.
not a montage, but it has the scenes, right? And you're paying attention, you're present, right?
Yeah.
And there are other movies that don't do so much the scenes, but they do more the montage, you know. And so you're still getting it, and you are engaged in a different way. And this movie does neither.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it more, and you guys were talking about it. Like, I agree that like this whole movie is just like pulling its punches.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not, and it's not even about like depicting unpleasant things or not, but they start to, you know, like they have the
Yeah.
part where she gets taken down. It's not just him getting the call and then going to the hospital, because you could have
Yeah.
done it that way too, you know. It's
Yeah.
about choosing, you know,
And
like the
it's-
magnet set on the fridge.
Yeah,
You know, I actually expected. I'm sorry, I'll to cut off your point, but like I halfway expected when Nick Cage eventually turns the tables and starts ordering the guy around to go here, do this, sit there. I legitimately thought he was going to just smack him when they met face to face and go, "How do you like being told to do all this needless bullshit?" Because he literally had him go sit down at a monster truck show for no
Yeah.
reason other than to say, "Okay, now get up,
And he
go
had
to
to
the
pay for a
concourse."
ticket. That can't
Well,
be cheap.
I read an article somewhere that and I have to agree, where they were saying it's like they worked with the tourism bureau of Louisiana.
That makes so much fucking sense. Well, again, and Cage and the New Orleans obsession, you know, once again, it's like, let's make
Yes.
a commercial for the city that's getting back on its feet, and it has corrupt cops, and an evil organization runs everything.
Yeah.
Between the vampires and those organizations,
Yeah,
New Orleans
but-
is
yeah,
an interesting
But
place.
you know what else New Orleans has, my brothers? No, you know what New Orleans has? Oh, it has the Irish investigative reporters. It does.
Apparently.
Yeah. It has reporter Alan Marsh, reporter Irish McPotato Fan, also known as Bill Brasky. Ah, you red-headed asshole, Bill Brasky. Ah, yeah. He once was in a stage production at Robin Hood, in which he was eating the cast on stage. He was. His semen can turn into a liquid human. It can. Ah,
Jesus.
every morning I crap the bed.
What is happening?
That's pretty much how I've been.
Why? It warms it up. It's like a poor man's hot tub.
Is it me or the cat?
I
It
found
was Amber
out.
Heard.
I found out that this was so I read on one thing on the web, but I was not able to find anything else that would back this up. But apparently, originally Paramount bankrolled the movie, and
And then they saw it.
I think so.
That would explain why it took a whole year to come out in this country.
I mean, it would explain it, but also Toby Maguire was supposed to star in it.
Yeah, he's listed as one of the producers, and I'm like, Toby
Yeah.
Maguire, what the fuck?
That's the thing. I guess when they pulled out, or when they were having problems finding somebody to back it, he ended up just producing it.
Yeah, well, that's what happens
wonder if it's a
sometimes when you get
contract
movies
thing.
like this in production hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can have films that have been completely shot and they're ready, but they can't find distribution or they just don't have people wanting to release it yet.
Well,
just gets
also,
set on
like,
a
the
shelf
whole
for a year.
system seems geared more towards not releasing than releasing because they get their assholes clenched about it and they're worried about return. And sometimes they don't even want to sneak it out in video. Like Brainstorm by Douglas Trumbull with Christopher Walken. Natalie Wood's murder happened, or accidental death, whichever. Her death happened during that. And her part was pretty much done, like, except for, like, 3 shots. And the distributor's like, oh, no, we can't release it now. And Douglas Trumbull's like, it's fucking done. Just give me a stand-in and we're there, Like, but it took 2 years for that movie to get released.
And I can't remember the name of it, but there was a pretty good John Travolta, I think it was, cop drama that went through the same thing and just went direct to video. But also more recent was the Dune miniseries that appeared on Sci-Fi Channel. That was made to be a Hollywood release, but no studio wanted to put the thing out. So then they ended up just saying, all right, well, fuck it. Let's make a miniseries out of it, put it on TV.
Damn.
And we're still really getting a Dune movie, so fuck.
Yeah.
And now, well, it's all kind of funny too, considering that we have all these fucking streaming services now, and you get these shitty things like Blumhouse Productions that do nothing but dash off these worthless movies just to fill up the numbers. And I'm thinking, like, there's so many like half done and should have been done movies out there, but instead we get this. Fuck you, world.
Well, yeah, and like I've listened to the Blacklist table reads, and they've had some really amazing scripts, and like they use professional actors and like for the table reads, and it's I've heard
like
ones that are just fucking brilliant, but like but then you get this, which, like I said, I love the premise. It could have been a great movie. But
it's the Donaldson effect, man. Like seriously, like if you've seen Sam Peckinpah's The Getaway, and then you see Roger Donaldson's The Getaway.
Sam fucking Peckinpah.
This is like if you took the movie Crash and then put John Woo action in the middle of the movie.
Well, like I feel like you guys are right. Like you really hit the nail on the head. That like maybe if they would have been more engaging with the story and the direction that
you gotta have an angle. I mean, like I think we keep finding that out again and again. It's like if you don't know what you're doing with what you're doing,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I feel like all the shit going on with him and Edwin the student, it's like,
you know what that was? You know what I thought that was like? That was kind of like that bit in The Marathon Man. Remember where Dustin Hoffman, like in his neighborhood, he has all those people who call him creepy and they make fun of him. Yeah. And then he has to rely on them to get him away from William Devane. When the killers are.
Yeah, and then he pays him to go and rob his apartment and
right. Yeah. I feel like this was like a really diet half-assed version of that.
Yeah, which again, it's like, okay, he knocks out the one student or punches him down because he's pissed off with everything going on. Like, oh my God, you're going to get expelled now. And then he goes in, creeps into the school to do some research online, runs into the student, and then he just apologizes to him. And
we don't
it's like,
see the
okay,
student
we're good
again.
now.
It's like the student's like, oh shit, you're up for murder, Nicolas Cage? I'm not going to fuck with you anymore.
Yeah.
If this had been a '90s movie, his relationship with the student would have been like one of the big like core things of it, and that would have come back in the end. And the student, who seems like a rough-edged inner city kid, would have come up with a non-violent solution. That's what it would have been if we'd had this a '90s movie, and it would still be cool, and we wouldn't be pissed off.
This is for you, Mr. Deliver. It's like, you can call me Stan.
Is that how it went?
Yes.
You guys remember that movie Ricochet with Denzel Washington and John Lithgow and Ice-T? Do you remember the bit at the end where they electrify the Watts Tower? That movie was awesome.
Why?
That's like the good version of this.
Yeah.
Jaime Escalante could have saved some time by just telling his students that he killed a guy. How do I reach these kids?
I want to tell you all.
I tried with those kids. He should have put down 320s and said that the kids owed him some money. Well, Mr. Professor Cage, that storage unit's made out of some pretty cheap shit. Yeah, you could probably just back right into it. Thank you.
somewhat kind of sort of not really interesting fact. When they show him jogging earlier on the Pebbly Trail, I think it's the same one that Zandalee.
That's what I was thinking too when I saw this just now. I'm like, oh, is he going to cut in front of a train now too?
Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
exactly the same, but I can't find anything that lists where that was, so
Hey,
I can't
Cage,
verify.
put some boiled cherries in your twat.
You know, if you want to see a much better version of a story like this, go and watch Liam Neeson in The Commuter. And if you want to see something even before this that came out that was also very interestingly and well done, go watch Elijah Wood and the Oxford Murders, because at least
I haven't
that
seen
was
that.
interesting.
That sounds.
That's
I
a
haven't seen
really,
that
it's a
either.
really fun movie.
I mean, this
I'll
is
put
a
it on my
great
list.
premise, when there's a bad guy who has you on the hook. I mean, like it's always it's borne fruit many times, like in noir things. Like, if you ever see The Silent Partner with Elliot Gould and Christopher Plummer? That
Oh,
one's like from the late 70s, and that's one where Elliot Gould is ripping off the bank, and a bank robber comes in, and he's actually able to pin his theft on the bank robber, and he winds up getting blackmailed by the bank robber, who kills his girlfriend.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. I just looked up the Oxford Murders, and is that John Hurt, Donnie? In that?
That is.
Fucking A.
I know.
A situation like this, you're gonna get hurt. John Hurt. With Big Al Hurt.
Oh, can we just bring him back?
It's spelled different.
But yeah, it looks like it's streaming on Hoopla, so I'm there.
Ooh, I'm knee deep in that hoopla.
But yeah, like I'm pretty sure that it's the same trail from Zandalee. I was just
I
waiting
wouldn't
for
be
them to show
surprised.
the train tracks.
I mean, given how the Coppola family is with, hey, come over, have some spaghetti, we'll talk about the film. I wouldn't be surprised if Nicolas Cage, like, hey, I got a house here, we can all get in, we got locations I'm familiar with, come on.
This school won't even
Speaking
know
of
we're
which-
filming there.
Yeah. Did you know there's a ghost here?
On April 16th, 2011, he was arrested in New Orleans for domestic violence and disturbing the peace.
And for saying I'm Rick James, bitch.
What did she do?
He was drunk as fuck in front of a house, which he kept insisting that they were renting, and loudly arguing with his wife, who at this time was Alice Kim. He allegedly grabbed her upper arm and dragged her over to the house and started hitting nearby cars.
This is our house! We built a home here! I'm sorry, Weston!
This is my house!
I'm
Bang, bang.
sorry! I'm his father!
I think that's about accurate. But he tried to get into a taxi when a police officer told him to get out. And but they couldn't find any evidence of violence, so no bruises or whatever. And Alice didn't press any charges, and she didn't allege anything, and she didn't want him to be arrested. And the witnesses to the event said that Cage was not violent with his wife, so who knows?
Just with their cars.
Yeah, I would totally believe him.
Son of a
getting
bitch,
drunk
bent
and
my
belligerent, though.
antenna. That ain't
He
never gonna
wasn't
be
violent
right
with her, but he shoved his dick in a tailpipe. I know that much.
Well, I've heard stories or
Henry
read
Ford
stories
created
about
those.
him being a drunken asshole in New Orleans.
To cars.
Well, like arguing loudly with whoa.
Oh, that's just me, drunkiness.
That wasn't his
Jeez.
poltergeist showing up?
No, that wasn't. That was actually Nick Cage outside with Nick Nolte. We can hear you. Nick Nolte's just like, you're gonna eat this trash, you're gonna take it out, because I'll do both of it for you.
Well, I read a story of like when he was married to Arquette, and he said that, or like the story was talking about how he was drunk in New Orleans and loudly arguing with her, and then she was like pretty much like fuck this and left, and he proceeded to really annoyingly like hit on these other women or one other woman, and said that called the other one like fat or something like that.
Hey, hot stuff. Hey, fat friend. How you guys doing tonight? Damn, hot stuff. You fine. Fuck
You're
off,
the cat in the hat.
You're like the cat.
We can go to my beach house and have fruity drinks. Just so long as I'm drinking. That's the important part.
But I mean, for all we know, maybe he was abusive, and Alice Kim was just one of those. Maybe she didn't want to press charges, and we don't know, and I know that plenty of victims feel like they can't say something, but they apparently didn't see any evidence of abuse, and the witnesses said that they didn't see any abuse, so
everybody got paid off real well. Went great.
And then the witnesses had to go kill somebody else.
The original title was The Hungry Rabbit Jumps. I can't imagine why you couldn't get distribution with a swift title like The Hungry Rabbit Jumps.
Okay, one thing I
just
did
surface.
enjoy.
It's just surface.
The Jaguar rides low at midnight.
It's always a nice day if it doesn't rain, if the sun isn't too warm.
The penguin flies at night. But I feel like we just activated some sleeper agent out there.
The woods are lovely, dark and deep.
One thing I did enjoy about the movie was that it does not have a happy ending. Necessarily.
No, it has a crappy ending. It has a generic thriller ending, like, ooh, look, this is still going on. Sequel, maybe? Who knows?
Yeah, listeners, if you haven't seen it, don't, and keep it that way. But at the end, he hands over
Alan Marsh, the reporter's research.
Yeah, to one of his buddies,
one of his Irish drinking friends,
who was also a reporter. And then the reporter says the line, after he gives him the evidence, he says the line of the hungry bunny jumps, eh?
Oh, wow, man. The hungry rabbit jumps, right? I'm telling you. Whoa, that rabbit, right?
The thing is, while watching it, I'm sure you guys had the same experience. While watching it, the whole ending, I was like, how does he know he's not one of them? And shouldn't he be covering his fucking bases here?
Well, boy, this is New Orleans. You're damn right that's how it's going to be.
Shouldn't he be sending it to multiple places in the world?
Okay. This is another thing to point out, the technology gap of this movie, because even though it's 2011 and flip phones were the phones, so they sent him to do the murder of a guy he's told is a child molester, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it's on that people bridge under the freeway there, over the other freeway, and they're talking about how we don't have the security camera that proves you're innocent. Nobody loaded the tape in that machine.
Yeah.
Whereas I was working in the store with security cam at that time, and that was indeed all digital by that point. By the way.
Well, and besides that, who the fuck is going out there every so many hours?
Do you have that evidence? It's I don't know. Did you get me my DVD? It's like fun fact, kids. Blu-ray had already been a thing for 6 years.
Do you have my 8-track?
Maybe 4 years. Yeah. It's like. Did you take a daguerreotype of it? Yes. Yes, I have a mimeograph copy. I have. Yes, it's just come over the wire. But this is like watching the movie Cellular, only that it's embarrassing because it's 8 years after the movie Cellular.
Yes.
It's look, I'm going to email this to myself. Wow, technology, right? Gee, you guys, nowadays.
Wait, was Cellular the one where he was calling from a phone booth, or no?
No. That's also from a Larry Cohen script. So you're not wrong for thinking that. That's the one where what's her name is trapped in the house by the corrupt cops, and she puts the wires together on the phone, and she manages to get through this cell phone to that one dude who's really annoying.
Yeah, but it's not the movie Phone Booth, and it's not 15 minutes.
Because Phone Booth had
and
that
it
awesome
ain't
line.
50 Shades of Grey in case. Oh, hey, you done hurt my dick hand.
Yeah, my friend Brianna and I in high school we used to say that all the time. He
Okay,
done
so
gone
you were
and
came
hurt
out
my
in
dick.
2004, so that was fucking 7 years before this goddamn movie.
Oh.
Cellular, which is really bad, but unlike this movie, it made money.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go watch Cellular, everybody.
I was gonna say, to follow up with your oh man, it's gonna be really fun, the reviews I found for this, because there's only one that I'm gonna be sharing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Wait, the horny rabbit bumps? What was that? Yeah, bumps means justice, and humps means reality. Lady lumps.
Well, when they established like
Lovely
what was
lady.
going
No,
on,
they oh yeah,
like
God.
when they like when I have to say that it was kind of obvious like what was going to happen. Like, duh, dude, they're going to expect you to kill somebody else. Like,
They have
nobody
people who
does
kill people.
shit
You
like
gotta
that
do
for
them a
free.
favor.
Like, yeah. I mean,
hope
like
you know
never
you're part of direct domestic terrorist cell now. How do you like it?
Yeah, like you never fucking say like if somebody's like offering to kill somebody for you for free, you never fucking say yes unless you're ready to kill other people. Like, that's just
yeah, no, it's
Like-
like so you're gonna kill the guy who raped my wife. Yeah, I'm gonna murder him. Well, I do want him dead. See, it's like. So how do I get this done? Well, what you do is you drive around with your headlights off, and the first person who flashes their headlights at you, you have to shoot them. That person didn't rape my wife. It's how you get into the gang.
but yeah, like he's just like, oh, so you're gonna kill the guy who raped my wife for free?
And
Cool.
You're thinking too.
Thank
It's like
you.
wow, he's really got a boner for murdering this guy. Like maybe he should just want him imprisoned or something. You know, like
When you're trying to do something that Hitchcock already did better with 3 other films, just don't.
Crisscross.
yeah, well, yeah. This is Murder at My Friend Larry's by Owen Lift. That's what we watched.
Or Cage on a train.
It's a thriller. It's got a twist.
But yeah, in the first couple minutes when they established like what was going to happen, it's like, oh, okay, this could be really cool. This could be really good.
And it turns out his friend is part of the organization too.
Yeah, because of fucking course he is, and everybody is.
Because there's only 5
And-
characters.
Yeah, and I was surprised his sister didn't turn out to be like,
Right? Yeah. She's holding. Yeah, at the end, the sister's holding a gun to his wife's head, and it's too important to jeopardize. Nicolas Cage, just don't do it. Remember that time you took my Zagnut bar and you ate it in front of me? Remember that? I never forgave you. No! Freeze frame, seeking justice.
How did they get you? They killed my brother. Six.
You know, I honestly did expect she would be a one person to turn at the end, but yeah, again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
she
would
was
be if
another
it made
character
sense.
that didn't need to be there.
Well, it's because
Yeah.
she was a throwaway. They're like, should we develop her or anything? Like, no, we'll just
That's
give her some
literally it.
lines.
It's like you could be one of those movies where you edit her out and the movie still ends.
we
the
would
exact
never
same
have known
way.
she was gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the
Just
movie's
like
like
the
what? It's like
student.
about 100 minutes, like with the credits anyway. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
in fact, the end credits start rolling right at the 100-minute mark on this thing.
Yeah. It's pretty bonkers.
Also,
And
there's the
sad.
part where he breaks into the newspaper and he's trying to find Alan Marsh's research, and that lady asks him about a point of grammar. And
Yeah.
and it's really funny, and it's like and they had an opportunity to like make that into a moment like Hitchcock might have done. But instead, she runs to the security guard and it just deflates. And it's like, well, then why'd you even do that? Like, because he
Yeah.
answers her. Like, why would he bother to answer her otherwise? Like, I'm the new guy. I'm really new, you know. Like, oh, Alan Marsh, he was a son of a bitch. You seem much nicer. Thank you. My ex-husband, he couldn't stop touching other women. He is a fool. It is his loss.
We're great here. How are you?
just give me a few minutes to lock it down. You're in a cubicle. What are you talking about? Radiation leak? I don't.
I would have preferred if he would have just gone for it and just leaned into it.
Yeah, no, well, that would have given us a Cage moment, and it would have been like, oh look, there's some respite for the unrelenting bullshit that is this movie.
The little missus, like, I'm trying to hide from her, you know what I'm saying?
Well, actually, they could have worked that in, right? If there was a whole theme, because they show him at the school being part of the extracurricular activities. If they'd had it so like he was like in the theater department, you know, like, and he's trying to do improv for the kids and he sucks at it, and then at the end he has to improv to save his life. Gee, Professor, you're the shittiest improv guy ever. Yeah, you suck. I know, but it's just so fun working with you kids anyway. One day you're going to be in a situation where you will need to improv.
Do you want to work with the organization? Yes, and I'm a dog
just putting
groomer.
away these oranges right now. Your hand's empty. Why are you pantomiming in front of me? Shit. I'm sorry. You're not that guy we're hunting, are you?
Yes, and damn it! Oh, yeah.
Fun fact, though, storage units really are made out of cheap shit.
They really are.
They're just, it's just pitiful. Like, you're wasting your fucking money. I on my security route, there's 3 different storage unit places that I stop at. So, but cheap shit, catch it. I don't back my Escalade into them though, partly because I'd never drive one.
Oh, the wife actually is on a show on Netflix that I've been really enjoying called Spinning Out.
January Jones is on a show called Spinning Out.
Yeah. It's a figure skating drama.
You got
thing,
yourself
but
in a
it's really
tailspin.
but I also really enjoyed Mad Men, and yes, I have to say it like that every time.
Why do you say it? I don't get it at all.
You
You kids and your Mad Men and your Breaking Bad and your
You
TV
damn
series.
uteruses.
Your damn uteruses.
It's not a woman show. Like,
I know. It's a terrible show.
You know what show I
No, it's
like?
a great show.
I like Damages
Fuckers?
with Glenn Close.
Well, no,
and,
the ending
and Tom
was
Noonan.
shitty, but
oh, okay. Well, yeah, I can agree with you.
Damn
on
it, Damages with Glenn Close and Tom Noonan. Fuck your other show. That show was intense.
Okay.
Fuck you all. Glenn Close and I are going to get a
It
place together and you're not
stinks.
invited.
It stinks. Yeah. Good job, Donnie. Donnie is the new Jay Sherman.
I was actually thinking more Mystery Science Theater, but yes, Jay Sherman.
Oh.
Idiot control, now hideous control, now hitting the door, now hitting and a poor boy. All I want to feel is the wind in my eyes.
Buy my book.
From the director of Supersonic Man and Pieces.
Oh, Lord.
Do you guys feel ready for my segment? All like 30 seconds of it.
Talk about your segment and the fact that we got VD from this movie. What's your segment called?
Yeah.
I want his clothes off, but not really.
You don't want that old guy from the gas station's clothes off? He's got the hearing aid. It's like, well, since you asked, here,
No,
let me
only
take
him.
off my truss here. Wait,
Only him.
colostomy bag's getting in the way.
My crusty trust.
I don't you change it usually, as bathing is not my forte.
Thankfully, you see no nudity in this.
You kind of see the side of
Nudity.
January Jones's ass and Cage's ass in the director's
Yeah.
credit there.
Oh God, yeah, I blocked that out because
Well,
I
it's
was,
distracting and it's awful. It's like that sex scene in Matrix #2. It's like, why is this happening?
I've gotten to the point with with Cage and his movies where I was also audible about that while watching it. Carla was working behind me because I was just
That was right
like
on the director's credit, though. Like,
the sex scene came up and I was like, ugh. I don't want to see it. I just
what if they just lingered on it, right? And there were like bed spring noises, and it was kind of like, it's like, are you? No, hold on.
No, they're
Do you
not
want
going
me
to David
tell you that
Cronenberg
story
this.
again? No, I'm almost. No.
Well, when he has like any steamy scenes now, for me, it's like, ew.
Well, yeah, it's not like he got all ripped like he did for Ghost Rider.
Long gone are the days of the boy in blue.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Yeah.
Gonna, you know what? Why didn't he make a Rambo type movie? Everybody else was back then.
Yeah,
God damn
really
it, that would have been so boss.
Why didn't he team up with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I know, right?
God.
Stay away from his right leg.
They could have made a prison escape movie.
Oh no, look out, Cage! Bolo
Space
Ewing is
prison.
coming for us with his kung fu. That's okay, I got it taken care of. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
So we have no more nudita.
No nudita. But
Well-
do you feel ready to face this bitch off?
After I give this very ceremonious review,
Yes, please do.
which I really was specific in choosing because it was made in 2013.
Okay.
And the title was Maybe If You're Incredibly Bored and Desperately Need to Watch Something. I present a table read. First of all, to everyone writing that this movie is unpredictable and for individuals who like watching movies where they can't figure out things until the end, what the heck did you watch? Because this movie was full of tired cliches and incredibly predictable. If you couldn't figure out what was going on to happen, I don't understand that.
Your
Let me
mother and I
tell
are very
you.
disappointed.
Let me tell you, I am not ashamed to say I love Nicolas Cage movies. Most of the time, even the ones that are so bad they're good. They're usually good. Fun, action movies. And if you're looking at this movie, that's probably what you're looking for, or you're lost. You won't get it here. This movie was so boring and so lame. January Jones is cute as a button, but can't act her way out of a bag. And this seems to rub off on Cage. He's usually a lot better, but trust me, his acting was still good and the best part of the movie. It was just a bad script, bad direction, with some bad acting thrown in. A really bad script. Please don't waste your time or money. If you absolutely feel compelled to watch it, find it on HBO one day, and then you'll remember... and then you'll remember that I was right and tried to save you that anguish. Everything else is literally just, this movie sucks, I couldn't play it on my machine, or this movie was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, I felt like it was, it's not necessarily bad acting. It's just flat as fuck acting and, like, just a flat as fuck script.
Yeah. That's why I said there's Hitchcock in The Wrong Man was a better movie. But
Hitchcock in anything.
Yeah.
Well, almost anything.
Yeah. This thing just tried and failed horribly.
Or like the Strangers on a Train. Like if you like this premise, then check out Strangers on a Train.
Yeah.
So you feel like facing this bitch off now?
I got one.
What you got?
Adrian?
So my version, it's still set in New Orleans, but for some reason New Orleans looks a bit like Vancouver. It stars Michael Ironside as the professor. Patrick McGowan is Simon. Marilyn Chambers is the wife. Peter Dvorsky is his school chum. Tom Skerritt's the cop, and Joe Silver's the reporter.
Wow.
And Donnie kind of guessed this early on because, my version's directed by David Cronenberg.
Starring Nicolas Cage nuts.
There's room for that. Can you imagine?
I'd watch it.
He's sitting there in the waiting room at the hospital after his wife's, been taken in. Yeah. And he turns away and behind him, the guy's sitting there, just like he appears like Satan, Hey, you got a problem.
I thought you were going to take this in a Lars von Trier's nymphomaniac direction and say that he just goes to a vending machine and you see his balls as he's like jerking it. Like, I have a nervous boner, I got to get rid of it.
I gotta work that money. Adrian's going off to stand on the corner and earn his keep. Man's gotta eat. my face off. So I just talked about him in our latest episode of Bed Knobs and Broomflicks. So he's been in my mind, and I think that he's going to fix it. My director and writer is Mel Brooks.
Ooh, I know where this is going.
Will, as the Cage character, is played by Leslie Nielsen.
Jesus.
His wife Laura is played by Madeline Kahn.
Damn right.
Fucking course.
Naturally, it's been a while, and so obviously we have to go back in time for
bone
this.
structure.
And for Simon, I have Mel Brooks.
What the fuck?
It's good to be the leader of the ring, the murder ring. And
no, in fact, I'm very well.
I have Jimmy played by Chris Rock.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yes. I fixed it.
That would fix it. Yeah. I think we have a running theme in that if you give movies to directors and not hacks, good things happen.
Yeah. But of course, like she wouldn't be raped in the story, in his story.
Oh.
But they might like I don't know, like myrtleize her.
Yeah, you know, you get less mad
In a funny way.
Funny. Well, you could have said that. I'm glad you said that instead of raped, but in a funny way.
But this time, just hear me out. Hear me out.
On the subject,
I'm
we
not a
got a
monster.
special guest who's a rapist.
Jesus
Now,
Christ.
now, give us your input on this.
Are we getting canceled yet?
Well,
We're covering the whole
mine's
story here.
Mine's a little simpler.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
directed by the Wachowski siblings. And Will Jerd is played by Elijah Wood. Laura is Ellen Page. Simon is Willem Dafoe.
Ooh.
And Jimmy is Terry Crews.
Hey.
I wanted to make a profit.
Excellent.
Oh.
Uh,
Yeah, a version of this that made
I'm
money. That
wondering
might be nice
if
too.
I should have actually gone with Dave Chappelle for Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I made my version just because I like Patrick McGowan.
Yeah, nothing against Chris Rock. I like him, but Dave Chappelle's more on brand.
I
for,
went on the Irish guy
Mo
theme
Brooks.
with that one. I am not a number. I am a free man. They never followed up on the Irish guy theme. Maybe like a neon leprechaun.
That was
should have
just
fallen
out
on
of
something.
fucking nowhere.
Wasn't that
Yeah,
random? Yeah, it's
that
like,
was
hey,
weird.
look, like we got that model we got for the one scene on the bridge who disappears instantly. He had red hair. Let's make him super Irish.
And I love how he for his wake they have his fucking badge.
Yeah.
That was
That's not a
pretty
security
high on
risk.
the convenience scale right there.
Yeah. like
just-
we left the keys to his house. Like,
That
to
reminds
remember
me
him
of
by.
the shitty fucking zombie movie we were in. We're like, yeah, we're gonna have food for
Ugh.
everyone. It's like, oh, what do you got? Like, Hormel chili and cut up hot dogs. Oh, do you have any buns? No.
Wow, they didn't
Oh.
have buns. It's like, no, stick your faces in there because we don't have plates or spoons either. You are our
They're
slaves.
monsters.
Also, to further tell people why this movie was fucked up and not to see the movie we were in, the director literally stole food from donations because they didn't want
yeah.
to pay to feed the people on the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, like, I helped with the makeup and like special effects that one night that we were in, and like I didn't get any credit. I wasn't credited as an extra.
Well, your name was also misspelled purposely.
The movie failed so hard, though. It's as if he
Was
was
I
erased
credited?
by God.
No, I'm pretty sure I wasn't credited. In
No,
the
you
whole
are.
damn
They
thing.
just misspell your name. Yeah.
I'm okay with it
You were
because like
Rinda
I don't want to
Roberts.
be known for it.
Yes.
I like the last thing I want is for people to judge me by that fucking movie.
You know, we'll make that a Patreon
guys,
exclusive.
there's
If you
nothing
pay
to
us
worry
$100, If you pay us $100, I will give you my director-signed copy of that movie.
You have a director's signed why? Why did you support it? Jesus.
Because that was the only way the guy
was
would
the
have
only
done
way
an
to see
interview
it.
with me on or MySpace back in the day.
You did an interview with him?
I wanted to, but he suddenly inconveniently found himself filming possible locations in LA.
For that sequel.
Yeah, for the sequel in his trilogy that never happened.
Again, this movie was basically erased by God, right? The aliens from the Forgotten made sure that nobody saw this movie or even remembers it. Like this movie has so little chance of ever being seen by anybody ever, or ever even being picked up streaming. Like it would be just like the shocking coincidence of the age were anybody else to have ever heard of it.
Of course, you're talking about Seeking Justice, and
That's right. Yeah. You got me. I mean, no, Seeking Justice. There was a perfect venue for that film. They should have released it directly to Lifetime or the Hallmark Channel, because that's its level.
I will give this movie credit. I had never heard of it before.
I had, because it was
neither.
actually televised.
Oh,
It actually did get televised. So I saw like the last, I think, 30 minutes on TV, like way the hell back in the day. And then later it was on Netflix, and I was watching all the bullshit that Cage had on Netflix at that time. So I saw it in its entirety that time. It opens with a guy with the reporter like on his little palm quarter video with a tape interviewing the guy about the Justice Organization or whatever the fuck it's called.
right.
And it does the thing
The
that
Justice League.
and for some reason the screen's at an angle, even though we're supposed to be seeing it from the point of view of the screen. We got the pixels at an angle. And it does the thing that all Hollywood movies do when when something's supposed to be filmed on a camcorder, which is completely disconnected with reality, is that they have a red blinking light next to the REC. Yeah. It's a black and white display. There's never a red light, and there's never anything blinking. That's not how they work. I've used so many camcorders, and none of them have ever been that way. Where the fuck do they get the idea that this is a thing? Just like how it could, like how in movies, like somebody will be typing on a computer, and all of a sudden the computer will be making all these little beep noises. It's like, man, either your shit's broken or you set up some really annoying sounds. Thank you.
Well, it's the same thing with putting streamers on the grates for air conditioning to let you know that there's no oxygen in the room, because now the streamers aren't moving. It's like nobody puts streamers on their fucking thing.
I think that's a 1950s carryover right there. You know, it's like just like this. Still, they will still use the trope where they try to keep a person on the line longer to trace it. It's like, you don't actually have to have a person on the line a certain amount of time to know where the call came from. The phone company knows. Mm-hmm. They know that right away. There's a record. You know, it's like, sorry, that was never that thing about tracing the call. That was it just isn't true.
But that was just the way for the camera to be like, "Hey, I'm here. Hey." Hi.
I mean, like you know, there's so many better ways to incorporate visual components and cues into your film. You know, like having symbolism in the cues other than signs saying not to use your cell phone.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like in the 1950s, you know, like there was sort of like at least for the smaller films, there was sort of a golden age of cinema, you know, and like people would use shadows and they'd employ composition and they'd have obstructions in the shot. The camera wouldn't just be shoved up their nose all the time. You know?
True. Do you feel ready for Cage or Busey?
I'm ready as I'll ever be. Oh, I need me a piece of bottom land. Oh, I expect. Alrighty, here's the answer to last week. This actor has played multiple instruments, including the drums, and has even played with a band on a record. Was that Cage or Busey? The answer... It was Gary Busey! That makes sense, actually, since Gary Busey played Buddy Holly in the Buddy Holly story, and he did a great job.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't want to say guitar because, you know, that would just give it away.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, like...
But yeah, he's... and I know that Cage learned... As far as I know, he only plays the mandolin. And he learned for the Captain Corelli's.
And he's got to tune up first, though.
Yeah, and he sings.
How do you say? Do you sing?
The new one for this week is who came up with the quote, "It never gets dark within your spirit"? Was it Cage? Or was it Busey?
I think it was my spirit animal.
It never
was it
gets
your
dark
mom?
within your spirit. Gee, humanity's really good at heart. It never gets dark within your spirit.
So, did you guys find any sort of fucking wisdom in all of this?
You can get anybody to help you if you lay down 320s. Because we're all God's children.
Donnie?
Just don't. Just don't.
Just
I mean, that's our usual wisdom, really. You know, I got the end's running on here now, and they're in that abandoned mall. I'm like, man, abandoned malls are cool. Why wasn't this cool at all? How did you manage to suck the coolness out of something that's inherently cool?
Once he said in the abandoned mall, I was like, oh shit, yeah.
But you know,
How do you know
have a
there's your
climax
wisdom?
in an abandoned mall, you got to set up the abandoned mall early on. It's like, oh, you heard that? There was another murder in the abandoned mall.
Yeah. The whole scene with the action that came out of nowhere with the shootout in the mall, it reminded me of the show Spaced. Go watch the show Spaced because there's a great episode where they're outside being hassled by some young kids and suddenly Simon Pegg acts like he's pulling finger guns out in slow-mo and everyone breaks out into a slow-mo gunfight. That's exactly what this movie turned into.
Yeah.
Except it wasn't as fun.
Yeah, very, very much. Like most of our movies, you could just go watch Spaced instead. I think that's a safe one.
Space was like as near perfect a show as you can get. And I was just talking to somebody on Twitter about it today.
Oh,
so,
perfect. Is it perfect? You think it's better than All You Being Served? I see how you are now.
Anywho, my wisdom, I keep coming up with wisdom. But,
coming up with love, but it's so slashed and torn. Oh.
I mean, the obvious wisdom is, nobody's going to kill somebody for free for you.
Yep. Killing ain't free. Cost $1.05.
But a show is fun. And if Edwin applied himself as much to class as he does scamming the school, he would accomplish anything. And also,
Edwin was our real
sometimes teachers just need to hit a kid and kill a man to get respect from their students.
Yeah.
That's a pretty lenient school district. You could punch a student in the face and it's just a 3-week suspension. I mean, wow. Anytime you want some vacation, just punch a kid in the face.
I'm kind of glad that our teachers didn't know that.
Well, actually, no. There was Mr. Snow, was it? Or our science teacher.
Mr. Shock? Yeah,
Mr. Shock, where he told everyone, it's like, I just want you all to know that if I ever feel in danger, it's like, I can beat you.
That's how you know you got one of the good ones.
Oh, I used to call his class shock therapy. And he would sometimes like explain certain things with the science of like, you don't want to mix this and you don't want to mix that because that's how you make a bomb. Boom.
All right, hold on. Let me tell you,
he was also crazy as shit because he said that he was developing a crystal run computer for NASA that won't be released to the public for another 40 years or so.
Yeah, his mistake was letting NASA buy it before like taking it to like any big companies like IMB.
He also apparently slept with a country singer but didn't want to announce her identity because he wanted to keep her name safe.
He would let us guess, but like
she was Chris Gaines.
Tell us who. Oh, he was fucking awesome though. He was intense, man. But shout out to Mr. Shock.
If you're listening, you're one of the good ones.
I fucking love that guy.
Why is he driving Audi? Where did he get that Audi?
And good night, wherever you are, Miss Habasha.
Our friend Brianna in high school, she followed him in the hallway one time and said, I see you there, shaking that ass, Mr. Shock.
So where can the people find us?
Anyway,
where are they going to find us?
We should edit that out. Please listen, follow, rate, and review Cage's Kiss, especially on Apple Podcasts, and go over to Podchaser. Right now, they have this amazing thing going on where for every on Podchaser, for every review on episodes or on shows, they're going to donate a portion of money to Meals on Wheels. So go over, do it now. It's awesome. And if you can help us with some reviews, that would be amazing. You can also check out our stuff on YouTube and check out our Patreon at www.patreon.com/CagesKiss. And remember, you can find us on Facebook and on Twitter at CagesKiss. You can visit our website at cageskiss.com, and you can write to us at cageskiss@gmail.com. Check out my other show, Bedknobs and Broomflicks, where we cover your favorite witches in all stories of all types, all genres. And we also cover heroic and just plain awesome animals in our favorite familiar segments. Adrian, what you got going?
Oh, hello, everyone. This is Adrian talking. You can still find me on DeviantArt as Leo the Fox, LeoTheFox, all run together, all one word. You can find me on my Patreon with the same thing. There's special stuff on that Patreon, but you got to give me $1 to find out what it is. And also, I'm on the YouTube under AA Smith. Drop by and give me money.
Donwald?
And I'm Unreal Goals on Twitter. I'm also the boy who blew over on Pornhub. And I'm apparently recovering and not going to die. So I've got that going for me.
I like that part.
I'm getting better.
Let's all not die.
You'll be hearing from us next week when we cover Trespass, which you can find streaming on Hoopla, Vudu, Tubi, or Crackle.
That movie should be in a box set with this movie.
Actually, it's in a box set I got with Bad Lieutenant and Stolen.
It belongs in a museum.
You belong in a museum.
So this movie has been January Ascending. It's about how January Jones discovers that she is the lineage of power.
And until then, what's that got to do with my cage?
Who dad? Come on!
COVID out.
Peach. I could eat a peach for hours. Please. Kiss me.
I'm Midnight Agent Raw. And I'm Okami. We are the Super Media Bros Podcast. And each week, we give a comedic take on all forms of entertainment, such as movies, music, video games, television, and much more. So put your shades on and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Shades on. We're on.